So we're going to look at making a put request now. What a put does is that it updates an existing record. So we can see our put request updates a specific game in the database. We can see that in our documentation here. So what we're doing is we're essentially sending a new game but to an existing address. So let's look at how we would add that into Rest Assured. So before we do that, we're going to just go back to our test config and we're just going to switch this back to application JSON because we want to be using JSON most of the time. We'll do that quickly before we forget. So now let's add in a new test and we'll call this public void update game. So we're going to need some JSON again to update. So I'm just going to be lazy and I'm going to copy the JSON from up here. And I'll rename it slightly. So I'm going to leave it as ID11 because we're going to change that game. We'll call the game My Updated Game. Maybe change the review score to something like that. So we've got a new JSON now, so let's see how we would do an update in Rest Assured. And it's very, very simple. It's very similar to what we've seen before. And so again, we have given, we specify our body. And then the only part that's different is in the when call. So instead of calling get or post, as you might have guessed, we can now call put. This will do the put call in us. Now instead of specifying the actual endpoint, I'm just going to hard code the endpoint here because it has a parameter in it. We'll see later on in the series how to handle parameters, but for now I'm just going to hard code the endpoint. So the endpoint is /videogames / the ID of the video game, which in this case is 11. So I'll just hard code that in for now. That's fine. And then I'll add the len for completion. So this should now call endpoint video game /11, and it should send this data here, and it should update our game for us. Let's go ahead and run that. The test completed successfully. Let's check in Fiddler. We can see that we called endpoint 11 here. We can see that we sent a new game, and we got a response back of the new game. Let's just double check in our API itself. Call this again and let's see what's there for game number 11. And we can see updated game number 11 is there. Okay, I'll see you in the next lecture.